and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Eddie and today we are back with another video. Today is a little bit of a different video. We are making over some Sims that I made a long time ago, actually. So we are aging them up. They were teenagers and now they are adults. And I am messing with their like whether they're a spellcaster or they're a cult. That's what it's called. And so let me introduce you to them. I'll introduce them as we go along. This is Sage. Sage has green hair, obviously, and she ends up being creative, cheerful, and adventurous. Her color scheme is pink and green. And then she also has makeup that's sort of reminiscent of a teenager because she was a teenager. So if you're like, why does she have horrendously horrible makeup on? Because she was a teenager. I did make these Sims in like 2018 or 2019. So we did not have a lot of options in terms of like makeup, in terms of Sims. Like recently we've gotten a lot more updates, and just as time goes on, you get a lot more updates. And then I do give all of them at least 2 everyday outfits, 2 formal outfits, and 2 party outfits. So we've got like they've got quite a large wardrobe going on. So yeah, I think that I really love how these Sims turned out. I feel like they're really pretty. Um, and then let's see, we are moving on to Sage's formal outfit. She does end up having 2, like I mentioned, but this is her first one. And then we'll go back and add the second one in a little bit. And I really love her makeup. I decided to do it the old-fashioned way where you go through and add everything one by one on its own, instead of copying and pasting, because for some reason I thought that was better. And then for her outfits, I really loved having the color scheme of like a green and pink. I felt like it worked really well. And then I don't know if I mentioned, she is dating Ash. So Ash is the middle Sim, with the red headscarf. And I think they're really cute. Um, and we are, yeah, she's very, she's kind of fun, kind of spunky. Um, And yeah, I don't know. I really love, I think Sage and Ash are like my 2. Mm, I don't know if I could pick favorites out of these Sims. I really loved making them. And then we are finishing up her makeup again before moving on to her outerwear. I did try to give her the new outfit that came with the update, but I felt like it didn't really fit her. So I changed it to the outfit that came with university. It's like an oversized jacket kind of vibe and some like jeans. Um, so we end up giving her that instead. If you can hear Atticus, I'm sorry, he is screaming. He desires. Um, Yeah, so we're trying to make it work, and then I was like, no, it's not working. So I decided to change the outfit completely. We get it in the pink swatch, and then I give her some boots because this is winter. Like, you're probably gonna have at least some sort of snow or rain. And then we're going back and giving her another slightly less formal outfit before moving on to give her another um party wear, party outfit. Um and I actually really like her party outfits. I feel like they're kind of, one is a little bit more dressed up, and then the other one is a little bit more casual. Um, and then we move on to her mermaid form, and I give her the same makeup that I have given her in all of her outfits. Um, and then we give her we change the color of her tail, and like the shape of her tail and give her the um other like the like scales on the top. And then she does use she, her pronouns. And this is where I'm going ahead and changing her traits. And now we are moving on to the next sim, Amaya. Amaya is the only single sim in this entire household. Um, and honestly, I felt like she was kind of ugly. When I saw her, I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe I made you. I'm so sorry. Um, but I think also, like, there should be some grace given a little bit like to my former self because I didn't know how people worked. I didn't know how how like I was, I mean, weren't we all a little bit worse at making Sims than we were before? Like now I feel like if you've made Sims, you are better at making Sims, the second time or the fourth time or the 100th time than you are at the first few times. Um, so do I think that she was kind of ugly? Yes. Um, but now she's not ugly, so that's really good. And then another thing that I felt like made it worse was that when I made her, she was intended to have vitiligo, right? But we didn't always have vitiligo in The Sims. And so I think that part of it made it like that the fact that she did not have like this piece of herself um sort of felt made her feel kind of like she was incomplete. Um, and that's not really a compliment. Not to say that like they should have thought of everything before they published the game because obviously you're not gonna think of everything, but I do feel like to a degree, um, there's like I mean, when The Sims came out, like The Sims 4 came out, we there were a lot of things missing. We didn't have pools, um we didn't have toddlers or infants. We didn't have like obviously we didn't have seasons. We obviously didn't have like a lot of things. So, I'm not like digging at the Sims team for not thinking of vitiligo as like the main priority because at some point it probably got brought up, but it was like less of an issue than the fact that they didn't have pools or toddlers or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have a lot of things in the game when they first came out. So it's not necessarily like a dig at the Sims team, but it was a little bit frustrating because I was like, well, I would love for her to have vitiligo because I feel like that's such a big part of her design. But we just didn't have it, so she just couldn't have vitiligo. Um, and yeah, so now she does. Um, and then I don't think I end up giving her a tattoo. Um, I feel like she probably wouldn't wear tattoos. Sage probably would get tattoos, but I feel like Amaya is definitely more um not necessarily conservative politically, just like she is more of a private person, and I feel like if she were to get a tattoo, it would be like on her upper arm where she could where like you wouldn't necessarily see it a lot because she wears a lot of long sleeves. Um and then another thing that is a little bit frustrating is that I really wanted her to have like a prosthetic arm, but obviously we don't have prosthetics in The Sims. So I had to make do with this little bandage wrap from university. Um, but so I mean, she is adventurous. So maybe you could, if you didn't know, you could just pretend like she always was injured. Um, but yeah, so we are going through and updating a lot of her outfits really quickly, actually. But she has a lot of purple. I felt like she was definitely the kind of sim that would have a lot of purple. I do tend to use a lot of purple in my Sims. Like, purple is my favorite color. But I felt like it kind of worked. She's sort of got like a pastel by flag vibe going on. So some pinks and blues and a lot of purple. Um, and then we have and then she has like a very she's got like definitely a more practical feel about her. She's definitely feels a little bit more down to earth in terms of like her her vibes. Sage is definitely a little bit more free thinking, a little bit more not necessarily chaotic, just less grounded, if you will. Um, she would probably, yeah. And then Amaya is definitely a much more grounded person. Same with Ash. Ash is also a much more grounded person. Amaya ended up getting the practice makes perfect trait in case you didn't notice. And now we are moving on to Ash. Um, and um, these Ash is definitely was the biggest struggle for me because Ash is a hijabi sim. She's Muslim. So well, yeah, she's Muslim. So I was like, I wanted to give her, like hijabi friendly outfits because, like, that's the whole point, right? And there are not necessarily a surprising lack, but just a lack of hijabi friendly outfits in The Sims. Like there are a couple that are made to be hijabi friendly and there's just not a lot of them. Like we haven't had a lot of them. Um so yeah, and there were even less when I made her, which is kind of sad, but it is it was a thing that I had to deal with. And then another thing that was a little bit frustrating was that in The Sims, there's only one dress, only one formal dress that is hijabi friendly. Um, so like you want your sim to get married in a very pretty gown, she only has one option, um, which is really frustrating, because there are a lot of ways to make a hijabi friendly dress and give some like like because the dress that I chose for her is it's got long sleeves, it's a little bit longer. Well, it is longer. It's a gown. And then it's got a high neckline that covers the shoulders, but like that's the only dress that meets those criteria. So I was a little bit frustrated. And then another thing that I noticed when I was renovating her, whatever, is that there aren't a lot of, when I made her, we only had one headscarf. So we didn't have a lot of options in terms of like head coverings, which was kind of frustrating to me because it's like, well, this sim deserves to have pretty scarves to cover her head and like feel pretty, and she has to wear a black scarf every day. Like, I don't feel like Ash would want to wear a black scarf every day, but it's the only one that I felt like went with her personality. So she gets to wear black, white, and pastel green. And I'm like, that's not really the vibes that I wanted her to have. I wanted her to have more like vibrant, but like mid, this is such like an artist way to describe it, but like a mid saturation red, you know? And she just didn't have that opportunity to wear something like that. So, um, that was also a little bit frustrating. And she was a spellcaster, by the way, in case you didn't notice or I didn't mention. And then we are moving on to Cliff. Cliff is he is gay. He's dating Ember, who is the last sim that we'll be doing. And making these sims made me realize a lot of things that we don't have and didn't have in the past. But Cliff, I really wanted him to have just like some loose shoulder length locks, right? Not braids, not twists, just locks. And we don't have that. We don't have just plain shoulder length locks in The Sims. And so I tried a few other things, some like updos and stuff, and I was like, no, none of this is quite what I want. I don't feel like he would wear his hair, and I don't think he would style his hair very much. He doesn't give me like spends a lot of time on his appearance kind of guy. Um, I definitely feel like Ember is the one that picks out clothes for Cliff. Um, which another thing, um, Cliff is deaf, in my head. But I don't think I gave him hearing aids because like I don't think he would be able to use them. You know, like if he's deaf, I don't think that he would be able to, like, I don't think hearing aids would be useful for him. So I didn't give him those. But yeah, so in The Sims, we can't have like physical disabilities, which is also kind of frustrating. Kind of going back to like how we don't have the prosthetics. Um, and so, yeah, Cliff is very handsome. Lots of teal going on with him, which I don't actually mind. I feel like he looks good in teal. And he also is a mermaid, in case I didn't mention. I don't remember what I've mentioned, what I haven't mentioned. Um, and a he is cheerful, child of the ocean, and then I end up giving him a the cat lover trait as well. Um, and we are um changing his hair because for some reason it didn't save onto his mermaid form. And then we are giving him a new tail. I'm just changing the color a little bit because I felt like the color before didn't really match. Um, and then I do look at the tattoos and stuff. I don't know if I give him any tattoos. I don't remember. Um, oh yes, I think I do give him tattoos, and then I also give him body hair. Um, and then this is Ember. Oh, I forgot to give Ash another trait. So she's a bookworm proper, and I forgot the other one, but yeah, so that's her. And then Ember is loyal, a bookworm, and something else. Music lover, that's right. 'Cause yeah. So we have him, and I really struggled with Ember's face. Um, it felt really long, so I was trying to shorten it. And then I was like, well, his eyes are too high. So I tried to move them down and I screwed up his face more by making it longer. And it was just like a whole thing. And then um yeah, so getting him to look how I wanted him to look actually took a lot of effort, which was kind of frustrating. And then I changed his chin, um, and that was, I feel like that and the lips changed like his entire face and made it significantly better. And then I lowered his eyes on his face, so they're instead of like in his forehead, they're actually like where they're supposed to be. And I did change his eye color, so he has darker eyes. And then I did feel like, oh, Ember is trans, by the way, in case that wasn't mentioned. But he, yeah, so I, d I don't know what I was saying, but, we're adding pronouns for everybody I forgot to add pronouns for. So yeah, and then Ember is, um, I think I was imagining that he would be, that he was Japanese. Not that I necessarily think, I don't know. I don't know a lot of like, I am a religious kind of, religions intrigue me so much more than like culture. Yes, religions are part of culture, but I don't really study geographical culture. I study more religious culture. So I don't really know anything about any of that. So we just sort of go, I just put him in a lot of snowy escape clothes, and I did put his hair in braids because, in my experience, I also have long hair. And in my experience, it is much more practical to wear your hair in braids than it is to wear your hair in like like free. So we did that, and then I'm going through and I am adjusting their body shape. I felt like all of them sort of looked kind of default. And then we're finally working on Ember's outfits. Um, and I think I get them a dog or a cat. I think I give them a cat because Ember, not Ember, Cliff is a cat person. But um, and then apparently we're back on Amaya for a second. Did I not give her an outfit? Is that what's going on? Oh, I rediscovered um this shirt. That's what's going on. Okay. This is a new shirt from the update, and so yeah. But yeah, so we're apparently redressing everyone's athletic wear from the jumper to this guy. Which is interesting. Anyway, so we are back to Ember finally. Um, and I actually feel like Ember is one of my favorite Sims. He wears a lot of black, black and blue. He's not very experimental, but I feel like that's okay. Not everyone needs to be experimental. Um, so I think we are finishing up the video, just fixing up their details. But if you liked this, if you would like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot. And I will see all of you tomorrow. Bye now.